Dear Harstem, I will complain about Protoss. In this game I played 3 Rex versus 4 gate blink all in. I came to the Protoss base and traded okay with Stalkers. Then I decided to transition to 3rd CC and then I scouted Colossus tech. That's why I was playing inactive in the next few minutes. Also I knew that Protoss make 3rd base in the same time with my 3rd. Then I destroyed the 4th and 5th Protoss base and got a normal trade while I made my 4th. After all, I felt myself very comfortable. However, I saw some disruptors and decided to make one big attack with Liberators, Ghost. But in this time Protoss took 3 more base with static defense, 4 more robo, about 20 gateways and about 100 probes. 100! And at that moment I can't kill his bases anymore because he have infinite reinforcements right on the battlefield. He lost almost all fights, but I still managed to lose. Finally, Harstem, I know that you're on a dark side, but tell me, is Protoss imba? Or do I suck? This imbalanced complaint form was sent in by Well, a European master player with 4.3k MMR who is a Terran. And the question there is very simple. Is Protoss imba or does he suck? Let's figure it out together. And here we go. Indeed. Oh, Harsht Well. This man's clan name is Harsht, which I assume stands for Harstem. I didn't know this was a clan. But yet, when sending me the imbalanced complaint form, he spelled my name without the R. Which, it means it's either one of 2 things. 1, he was not very careful when submitting this balanced complaint form. And for StarCraft players, it's very important to be careful, to be precise in what they do. That's one of the biggest skills you have in StarCraft. Or he was trying to make a little bit of a jokey, a little bit of a good old meme at the expense of Mr. Harstem. And I'm not there for that, okay? Name jokes, it's not very funny, mispronouncing someone's name. No one likes it. No one thinks it's interesting. It's even worse than puns, which I consider to be the lowest form of humor. Even worse than sarcasm. And then jokes about someone's name. There wasn't even a joke in there. You just removed an R. Yeah, nothing funny there. What is funny to me, though, is that this Protoss builder looked pretty good. And I saw something interesting. But before I properly report it, I want to make sure that this wasn't done on purpose. Just like the misspelling of my name. So people who have been looking at the screen for a while now probably have realized that there is a little bit more space here than there should be. This is a 4 hex distance between the CC and a close by mineral patch. So usually a single depot and then you have one like half a depot, 1.5 depot between the CC and a close mineral patch. But this is most definitely 2 depots. Now, it is possible here that Well is aware of this and that he just wants to start his orbital command first and then floats it over. Otherwise, this is the second inaccuracy. Obviously, the first one being misspelling my name, which is a rather large inaccuracy. But this is also... I love that... Okay, if he's aware of this... I am not loving the fact that he dropped the mule on the right side and that every single SCV so far is running, is taking the long way around as well. Like, this is obviously way closer patches to the CC. Like, surely you have to realize. Let's take a look at the first person view here as well. Like, it's so obvious to me. Maybe it's not so obvious to other people. Maybe I'm the weird one. But to me, whenever a CC is misplaced, it is really freaking obvious. It hurts my eyes. Like, I can see, like he's... Stop rallying everything to the far away one, buddy. It's not okay. Anyway, build order-wise, 3 Rex versus 4 gate blink. This is a really bad scenario for the 3 Rex. 3 Rex ideally wants to be playing against some Stargate opener, or maybe against a 2 gate blink with like a faster 3rd Nexus. And you want to be capable of hiding the fact that you're playing 3 Rex as well. Like, these are the most important things when you're playing 3 Rex. Blind turrets, blind bunker, supply block. Very nice. This actually is quite impressive, but because when you're playing 3 Rex, there's literally nothing that you have to be doing. So you never should be capable of making any macro errors because, like I said, there's literally nothing that it is you're doing. Has 14 Marines already. 1 Marauder's gonna get, I think, a second Marauder. Yep, there we go. And then you move out with 2 Marauders. This is a fairly common way to go about things. Not a huge fan of the double turrets this early. Not a huge fan of the... Well, obviously this CC... This is not good. This is really not good. And the fact that he doesn't see it is kind of what bothers me. Like, I can accept not seeing it when there's no building. But when you're building the turret, like, it's so obvious there's a hole way too big right now at this point. Now, the Stalkers move across the map. And... blinks back, so good move there out of the Protoss. I just want to pause here. I just want to have a tiny little pause. So, I think this is probably one of the top 2 worst case scenarios. I think the worst case scenario is a Colossus rush coming out of the Protoss and basically has a Colossus ready for your 3-racks. That is a bad scenario. And I think the second worst scenario probably is 4-gate blink. Why is that? Because A, the Protoss meets you in the middle of the map with blink and a decent count of Stalkers. Can kite you all the way back to your base, and then once you arrive the base, there should be so many Stalkers that you can't even trade. You should not be capable of killing everything. So the moment you see... What was this? This was 8... This was 8 Stalkers in the middle of the map at like 440. This is really clear to me that... he also saw that there was blink. There's most likely going to be 12 Stalkers at home. On top of that, you're moving up a ramp through a slow zone. All of these are things that a good Protoss would be capable of using. So if you're ever in this situation as a Terran, you never want to continue attacking through the same route. Absolutely never. This is a huge blunder, because if this Protoss had played slightly better, he would have stood on top of this ramp and killed 3-4 Marines for free. If you kill 3-4 Marines for free, you blink back, you're gonna have blink again by the time your opponent hits, and I don't think TOS loses a single Stalker. Even if TOS does not go to the top of the ramp, I still think going back home in this case is the best call. Either that, or you're just hiding at some type of watchtower, because you should never be capable of trading efficiently into this. Like, this is freaking 12 Stalkers with blink. You have 14 Marines and 2 Marauders. If TOS micros this accurately, which TOS isn't microing this accurately for whatever reason, if TOS would have microed this properly, accurately, this would have been a complete slaughter. So this was, despite this, I don't want to say that it worked out, because he still ends up losing all of his Marines and Marauders, and he has nothing really on the map left. Starport is extremely late. Like, this was an okay trade compared to what it shoulda, woulda, could have been had this Protoss responded properly. So far, we've seen some... the diagnosing of the game, the diagnostics by well, have not been great. Okay? So far, what have we seen? A completely misplaced command center, which can happen, but then hasn't been realized yet. And then such a clean-cut situation with a 3-Rex, right? Where you're fighting into 4-gate blink, completely making the incorrect call by attacking. If Well was a doctor, there would be a guy coming in with purple skin and like a head the size of a balloon, basically, ready to burst, you know? Well, would look at it, be like, you can go back home, drink a little bit of water. If it's not over by the end of the day, you know, just go to bed and we'll see what happens in a week or two from now. It's like, mate, Well would be to medicine what Bill Cosby was to appropriate relationships with women. Not very good, okay? The diagnostics so far, not been great. Not been great. CC, up in the main base, a third base. I do like that. Now, don't forget that the worker counts here, they don't mean so much because this base is not mining efficiently. So even if this looks like worker count looks kind of okay, you'll notice that the income isn't as high as it. I love that he's just dropping every mule on the wrong side as well. Holy crap, this is triggering me. That actually is seriously triggering me. Like seriously triggering me. Double Colossi coming out right now here out of Kroden. Kroden. I do like that. Well, I'm not a huge fan of double Robo, but I like Colossus against 3-Rex openers as a follow-up, because The thing with 3-Rex is that your medevacs are often a little bit delayed. Well, also delayed his starport even more, so they're even further delayed. That means that Vikings are further out as well. And with Vikings further out, Colossi are just absolutely fantastic as a unit, obviously. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Against 3-Rex, it generally is nice to rush out a couple of Colossi. Do I want to see double Robo pumping out Colossi before a fort base? No, most of the time, but it's master's level. It's 4.3. I'm okay with this. You know that? I feel fine. 71 workers here already for the TOS. 53 for the Terran, who's now adding in 2 more depots as well. And it's severely undersaturated in his natural. The reason for that is because, well, these probably could have 4 workers on them at this point. I'm not sure if you could have 4 workers, actually. You definitely could have 3 workers on the close by mineral patches. So you see there's some definite downtime. So probably missing like 2.5, 3 workers, something like this. Mines moving forward, gonna be taken out basically before they get to do anything. I wouldn't have minded a mine drop, because the armory has finished at this point. That means they remain invisible. There's no cannons in position. Sending like 1 mine drop to drop a mine in every single base is super frustrating for TOS often. Now, TOS now realized there's a lot of Colossi out, immediately starts Viking production, which I kind of do like. No fort base yet coming out of well. 2-1 on the way as well. We have gravitic boosters. Hello, let me click it. There we go. It's the observer speed. Yep, well, we're actually gonna do an armory mine drop. I really like this. I think this is almost always a good call. If you're a Terran, just anywhere in the world, I think doing this is good. If it's against high-level players, it's good. If it's against low-level players, it's usually also good. If you're a medium-level player, it's fantastic. And this is, I think, a medium-level game, right? 4.3. Yeah, it feels about medium. No blind cannons yet. The only problem is maybe at lower levels, people just build blind cannons all the time. But then if you see blind cannons, you just piss off. They build blind cannons. Is it really that bad? No. Split them. Split them across the base. Don't do it like this. This is way easier to clean, right? Way easier to manage. You just want to split them. You just want to split them, buddy. Allows you to kill more probes and forces them to move 2 probe lines away from their mineral line, which is always going to be good. Always worth it. Mine drops are always worth it if you can get them in, and there's no cannon, there's no stalkers in position. Always going to be a good thing. There's a second factory on the way right now, which is wildly interesting, mainly because the first factory isn't even being used. Very, very interesting indeed. It's like people buying a second car but not having a driver's license. You know, not sure how useful that is, but I'm looking forward to see how you're gonna use it. Maybe he meant to build a second starport? I don't think so. I don't think he meant to build a second starport. He just has 2 factories. This is phenomenal play. What is this? It's just a marine run by? I've never seen this before. This is like a decent chunk of... This is not a small number. It's like 12, 13 supply. Yeah, let's get the job done. Not a fan of this, because every single time you run in like this, you're gonna lose it. But of course it deals the damage. It shouldn't have, but it did. At the same time, moving it... This is a good distraction. Okay, I love this move. This move was brilliant. Here we go. So cancels a 5th base and is going in for a kill right now on this 3rd. Could definitely burrow the mines. That would help in the retreat. As Protoss hits mainly his own zealots with the disruptor balls. Yeah, well, 20 supply of Terran also ended up falling. Oh, another big disruptor ball. Okay, that was not great here for Terran. And you kill 1 base, but you lose a decent chunk of army and also a lot of air units. Like, there's legitimately like half a medevac. This is, well, 0 medevacs remaining right now. There's fusion core on the way. Yes, this doesn't actually look so great for Terran. I think people often think too much about economy. So if you think about this last fight, what really happened? So a 5th base goes... Okay, let's actually properly analyze it, right? Terran is on 3 bases, so has 3 base mining. Cancels a 5th base and kills a fort, but doesn't kill any workers. So Protoss has the same amount of mining still as the Terran. Well, actually a bit more, even with long distance mining, because there's just way more workers. So So Protoss loses basically just a straight up value of maybe, let's just say 800 minerals, okay, the 2 next. And of course, a lot of mining time gets lost as well, but let's not think about that for now. The reason why we don't want to think about it is because there's no advantage there for Terran. So Terran is not going to be out mining the Protoss during all of this. So if you think about the actual trade here, what did the Terran really achieve? Yes, the Terran did achieve delaying mining on this base, but Terran also lost like 40-50 supply of units for practically free, because Protoss hardly lost anything. Protoss lost like 7-8 zealots, and then those 2 Nexi. So yes, this is probably pretty cool to do if you have very good eco yourself and you can easily replace your army. Terran doesn't have very good eco, doesn't have brilliant infrastructure. Protoss has these things and now has a bigger army as well. So the one advantage that Terran had, perhaps a slightly bigger army, an army that was somewhat sophisticated, is now gone, because you can never take a fight ever again for the next, well, minute and a half or so, because you just lost your army. So you basically said, hey, I want the eco to be a little bit closer, but I'm giving away the one advantage I have. And TOS still has all the other advantages. So you basically, you traded the one advantage away for no real major gain, which is usually a bad thing to do. Because if you're behind in everything and you don't have map control, life can become very difficult. Like if TOS were to move across the map right now, clear these rocks with a prism, move across the map, and then just trade from a distance, throw disruptor balls at you, I actually think Terran is completely dead here. The difference between defending against disruptors and attacking into disruptors is huge. Disruptors defensively are quite weak. Disruptors aggressively are freaking insane. Like they're so good. It's like a Tempest. It's just shooting from a distance and it can kill clumps of units at a time. While it's defending, the Terran can just run away and rotate somewhere else. You're baiting out the shots, waiting for a chance to jump on top of it. But defensively, it's so hard for Terran. It's so hard. If you don't have control, it is so freaking hard for Terran. Not having a split army also really sucks against disruptors, because disruptors are terrible when they're being split off. Like, in the disruptors world, the disruptor just wants to fight a massive bio army, you know? Over a period of 5 minutes. So it gets like 20 freaking shots in, this disruptor. That's the disruptor's wet dream, you know? This is what they want. This is all they think about, and it's disgusting. But that's what a disruptor wants. Don't forget, by the way, that our Terran player is still only on 4 bases. So the longer he sits back and does nothing, the further the TOS gets ahead on the 90 workers. I saw 9 gates being added, so that is indeed up to 17 gateways. That is a good number as well, 17 gateways. That is a very solid number. I feel like whenever I go above 10, I want an odd number of gateways. But while I'm below 10 or 10, I want an even number of gateways. I wonder what's up with that. But above 10, I was like, oh, 15 or 17 or 13. Those are good numbers, you know? But below 10, I'm like, oh, 8, 6, 4, 10. Oh, that's good. I love that. I'm not sure why it is. Even 11 still feels somewhat wrong. I think 12 might actually be the cutoff. 12 even is still good, but then I want to go to 30, not to 14. 14 is a ridiculous number for gates. And I feel like this is actually common with other tosses as well. I don't know why that is. I feel like there's something mental there. It's tradition. That's Protoss tradition right there. Above 12, odd numbers. Below 12 and including 12, even. Okay, here we go, a fight. Nice little move command there with those Colossi, but Liberators are largely out of position. EMPs, oh my god. This spell is so good. What? Why did Terran win this? Why did Croden not send this in? Look, just... First person is for the Terran as well. I slow it down. I'm slowing it down. Look at this. Okay, so... Doesn't EMP until 10 seconds after the fight starts or something like that. Look at this. So now the EMPs come in. Here we go. What's he looking at? And here, every disruptor ball is legitimately gonna get like 15 supply, because there's no micro at all. There is legitimately no micro. It's 0. Negative. Look. If he wouldn't have hit all balls at the same time, I guess that would have been better. The spread wasn't brilliant. I guess the Toss also doesn't really micro very much. It felt like a very even battle when it comes to the amount of effort that both players put in. As it was very close to 0. A cheeky little blink back. I honestly think if this Terran, if Well would have been capable of controlling this army, just even a little bit, this would have been a straight up win. Like, even without any control at all, he technically still won the fight. Resources lost. Not quite favored though. Not quite favored. I actually thought that was going to be favorable because there was a lot of Colossi in here. 4 Colossi at a time. This guy has 5 robos. That's what he said in his forum as well. 5 robos. That's so many. Odd number of robos is also weird. Ugh. Disgusting behavior. Doesn't really matter though for Toss. Toss is infinitely rich. Loving the fact that this is a slow warp-in pylon. Builds a gateway next to it. Don't forget that if you build a gateway at a pylon, the gateway finishes, turns into a warp gate. Well, while it is turning into a warp gate, it becomes a fast warping pylon. If a nexus is building or is done and there's a pylon within range of it, it also is a fast warping pylon. Otherwise, it becomes a slow warping pylon. I like this drop. I don't like that it's being queued into 3 cannons. That is what we call a mistake in the world of StarCraft. Usually you want to keep that alive. So he continues flying in towards the main base. What's this guy doing? He's also having a blast. Pew! Also died into the cannons. Could snipe maybe this forge. Got the shields. Get the shields! 7 Stalkers. Glaive Adept as well. This Toss is getting every upgrade in the book. It's going to be 7 base against 5. That's where we have a sad stage in this game in which absolutely nothing happens. So now both players are allowed to craft their ultimate army. Let's see what the Terran has. I much prefer the Terran army here. This has Liberators and Ghost and Marauders. This is really all you need as a Terran. On the other hand, we have Zealots, Stalkers, and Colossi. This is not entirely the army. This is actually entirely not the army. Like, this is completely the army you don't want, actually. Okay, here we go. Perhaps a little bit of a fight. No? Scan forward or don't. Siege up. There we go. EMPs could hit. EMPs could hit. Don't have to, of course. All I'm saying is that if I had a spell that could instantly destroy my opponent's army, just cut it in half, the HP of my opponent, I think I would be using the spell. I could be wrong on that. Maybe if I had it, I would feel bad for using it. You know, like a too powerful of a tool. You're like, oh, that doesn't seem... That doesn't seem fair. Look at this, look at this. Look at this. Look at this EMP. This is an expert. Expert EMP here. I show... Poof.
Don't you worry, little Well. Harstem is just a Terran hater. The EMP obviously hit, and all of us have seen it.
Miss. Oh, nice. It's right over there. I'm not sure where he queued that from. There's like a ghost over here got the order. Coordinates 6673 12489. It goes like, copy. Goes in and just goes. No backups. This is a great siege up as well. I don't even understand how it's possible to lose the fight, but Well just managed it. This is actually very impressive. I want to see this again. Okay, look at the current situation. I just want you all to look at the current situation. We're in a situation in which these guys have +2 ship weapons. There are 12 Marauders, 9 Liberators, and 5 Ghosts. Now, with +2 ship weapons, for the people that are unaware, if a Ghost hits an EMP, Stalkers get 1 shot by Liberators, okay? Even if there's freaking 27 gateways at this point, I think this base dies 100% of the time. All you do is you siege up the Liberators. You can siege them in such a way that your Marauders can attack the cannons without the Liberators necessarily being attacked. Just move in, siege up, you EMP your opponent's army, and then you go. Now what you shouldn't do is move command into the cannons and then siege up half of your Liberators at first. The next half, while all your units are dying to a DT warp in, then realizing there's a DT warp in, and then still winning the fight because the Liberator is inherently, well, as the Germans would say it, kaput, which I think means broken. Because holy crap, this unit is good. That was a nice mine as well. Like, here the game should have been over. Like, I don't think this army ever gets killed with reinforcement warpings. I don't think it's possible. If you have 9 Liberators and Ghost with it, like, that is insane. How's it possible they always move commands his Liberators in? Is everything just in one control group? Or maybe, even better, no control group. Planetary over here. Command center going up here. Planetary in this base. I see this quite a bit out of Protosses. At the high level as well. I've seen mech specs do this. He'll send in like 10 zealots into a planetary and lose all the zealots, kill 2 SCVs. Please. Please don't do it, Crodin. Okay, this I like. This I think is good. He even sends back the zealots. Look at that. Micro machine. Absolute micro machine. Liberators now going in for some harassment. Hey, do they not have advanced ballistics? No, they do. Just decides not to use it. What? I don't know. It seems very weird, no? I think it's really hard as well, is to make Liberators look like they don't have advanced ballistics. For people that don't know, advanced ballistics gives 2 extra range. But the way these lips are all sieged up, it looks like they're just regular Liberators. I didn't know this was possible to make them look like this. There's no ghost in this army. Despite that, we're still getting a pretty okay trade. Well, actually, pretty okay trade. It's a freaking good trade. Overall, resources lost now in favor of the Terran. No more Liberators are on the map, though. This is just crazy to me. This is just crazy. This is like... Okay, well, I'll hold that thought. A little bit of a fight here, which wasn't completely microed, or perhaps was completely not microed at all. EMP connects with all the observers, which is nice. And once again, Terran is going to win a fight. I got the perfect analogy during that last sentence. I just had it. Using the Liberator short range when you have advanced ballistics is like using the zoom of your digital camera to look at the moon when you have a perfectly fine telescope right next to you. I knew there was something there. I just couldn't quite get it. My apologies. It took a little while. All these fights, I feel like, have been going really well for well, but they should have been going even better in my mind. Like, this is legit 12 Zealots and 4 Stalkers. If you just hit an EMP on this every single time, I don't think it's possible to lose. Every single SCV ended up dying here as well, which isn't great. Medevac count is a little bit too low. There's currently 3 observers out and 99 probes. That is it. That is literally the army. 3 observers. Now, if any amount of air units plus Ghost ever hit the other side of the map, once again, I think it's going to be over. Okay, here we go. Digital camera users. No, there's usually a button on the side. You don't press that. That's the picture button. Oh, maybe he's sieging it up properly this time. Oh, who am I kidding? Like, how is it possible? Like, okay, this one actually almost looks like it has range. That's crazy, no? I've never seen this. He must have like a very peculiar way of setting up the Liberator zones. Because he's the only one I've seen mess it up this consistently. Or just actually... Even in general, it is really difficult to do. I also love that Well was complaining about his inability to take out bases on the sides, while all he's been doing is taking out bases on the sides. Like, it's super easy. It's actually super easy. He's been having an absolute blast with this. This fight also should be a complete walkover. Like, if you hit any amount of EMPs, I think you can just clear this. No, maybe not. Hello? All right. We'll never know now. Okay, Stim's back home. Is there any Vikings with this army? There's some Liberators. Hello, turn around. EMP, 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 EMP. No move commanding! Does end up hitting the EMP. I feel like if there wasn't a move command here, this fight once again would have been significantly better. It still is a fine fight. I feel like this is really the kind of the theme of this game. You know? Is Well just... completely messing up his opportunity to take world's greatest fight and then still taking a pretty okay fight. Not world's greatest fight, but like good traits overall. It is uncanny, his ability to do nothing correct and still get good fights. I think Crodin is making a pretty decent case for Terran being too powerful here. Look at his Zealot run by. Taking out another 20 SCVs. Love that these minerals weren't taken out. Makes it a lot harder to defend this base. That's smart. Always make it easier for your opponent to rotate than for yourself to defend. This is the one lesson that we learned today here, watching Well play against Crodin. Vehicle plating level 3, loving it. Absolutely loving it. Above ship weapons level 3. I don't think ship weapons level 3 does anything. Maybe for the Vikings. I guess it does something for the Vikings. Yeah, it would do something for the Vikings. This is the worst army I've seen in my entire life. They are legitimately the worst army. Come on, throw the mines. Set up the liberators. And hit your EMPs. It's really not that hard, mate. Look at this. Look at these fights. Wait, what? I was gonna say, in my mind, there was a refinery here. Now, what happened with that refinery? One might be wondering, okay? One could wonder. Now, don't forget that Zealots have 100 HP after an EMP. A refinery has 500 HP. Okay, let's take a look at what happens with this little refinery. Just have a quick look. How do you even misclick that? I don't quite understand how that's possible. Like, where was the A moving? Uncanny. Uncanny. Scary almost. How well is capable of messing up every single fight. No matter how good it is looking. It's still up in resources lost. Still up in resources lost. There's a base over here. Croden is the expansion king. His expansions everywhere he goes. Well told me that's impossible to take out these bases because of the quick warp-ins. As another base gets taken out. This is gonna be the 5th Nexus that will get killed. Glad that he stimmed absolutely everything. No watchtower vision either, because vision is for idiots. It's way cooler to not know what's about to happen to you. Maybe stim 2 more times. And it's gonna be a good look. Yeah, there we go. Once more. And then one more time in a little bit from now. When you're trying to run away, I think. Or maybe to clear these probes. One more stim. Come on. Your medevacts aren't empty enough yet. This is a good call. This is a very good call. Okay, now this base is also gonna die. So it's 2 bases for 1, but this also gets set up. So I actually kind of like this position. All you really need at this point is 1 good fight. And 1 good fight is just around the corner, because this army consists of 9 Archons. And the Archon, I've mentioned this before many times. The Archon is the worst unit in the world the moment the Ghost is out, because they literally just pop like a balloon. You EMP them and they die. Like, this is all a useless supply. There's so much useless supply in here. It's like 36 supply that's useless. It's super gas heavy as well. Terrible, terrible army. This is actually not a bad move. I think at this point what you want to do is you go back and then you kill your opponent. That's literally it. I think Liberators you want to add in at some point as well again. There's just not that much income right now, which is bad and it sucks and all of that good jazz. Mines are actually going to connect with his army. This is an insane fight already and nothing has happened yet. I'm not a huge fan of how Croden is approaching fighting. Okay, EMPs, 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 EMPs. Hello, on the Archons. Okay, I guess it's a win again. I just don't quite understand how it's possible to miss this many EMPs in a row. It felt like a lot of Archons had at least some type of HP remaining there, some type of shield remaining, which should not be the case ever. Now, Liberator reinforcements here, set them up, EMP, and you literally just win the game, right? This is a clean fight. Up, cheeky little EMP, stim your army, EMP, 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 target or split. No, or don't do either. It's also fine. It feels like Well just gets handed like 4 different opportunities every single fight, then throws 3 away, eats half of the last opportunity, and then takes it. It just makes absolutely no sense. This is a man that doesn't want to win, you know? If this was a football match and you could bet on it, this bet would be void, because the bookies would look at it, bookmakers would, they see it and they say this wasn't kosher, you know, this is not correct. What happened here ain't happening. Someone threw, you know, someone got paid. There's a bribe. Whether it was a bribe directly to the units or a bribe to, well, we don't know. But this control can't actually be real. Yeah, now you don't have Ghost and the Archon reinforcement. And now the game actually is over. This is the one fight you couldn't win. And you also lost it. G. Very nice. So, despite losing that end fight in a miserable, miserable way, resources lost ends with 66,000 to 55,000. And you could say it was a miserable micro from the Protoss player. Okay, I'm even willing to admit that. The micro from the Protoss player was not brilliant. It really wasn't. But he did do one thing well, and that was expanding. He expanded like a madman. He expanded like a crazy guy. Okay, And that's important too. He had infinite amounts of money. You did not manage to deny any of these outside bases efficiently the entire time. You send out a squad. Whenever you send out a squad, you kill the base. Whenever you wanted to kill a base, you kill the base. But there were entire periods in the game where you just sat at home, practically doing nothing against a Zealot, Stalker, 2 Colossi army. Then every single time you had a fight with real potential, you managed to completely mess it up. You misplayed your CC in the natural, which actually is really impactful in the early game, right? Imagine, even if it's just 1 or 2 less trips per mule, that quickly adds up. And it's the same with SCVs, right? It just takes a little bit longer. It wouldn't surprise me if it's about maybe like 150 minerals to 200 minerals a minute that you're missing. That's a free base 2 minutes in, you know, that's significant money. So your early game was garbage because of that. And your mid game was garbage because the one fight that you took where you did cancel one base and then you killed another, but you still only had 3 bases yourself and you lost the map control. And the moment you lost your map control, your opponent was allowed to expand whenever he wanted, wherever he wanted. There was nothing you could really do about it. You tried multitasking once with a double drop in towards the main base that absolutely failed as one of them flew into a cannon. The other one just got cleaned up as well. Like too little multitasking. No army splits against the disruptors. And then whenever you did have a significant army lead, a way better army, you completely botched every single fight, with the most notable one, I think, being 9 disruptors against 12, or 9 liberators against 12 stalkers. And somehow just move commanding the liberators in, DT slashing your entire ground army before you realized, and then losing. And despite all of that, you still got chance after chance after chance of redeeming yourself in future fights, and you managed to mess that up every single time as well. Which, honestly, given how many chances you were given, I am more impressed than upset. Someone can just, it's like being given a golden opportunity time after time. Here you go, 10,000 euros invested in a stock. You put it in, money gone every single time. You get 10 bags of 10 grand, all of it gone. Congratulations. Well, it's nothing to do with Protoss being imbalanced. You just sucked. That's how it is. All right, that's going to be it for today. If you did enjoy this episode, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye-bye.